Hey everyone, welcome back to another market update. Here's the first one for January. If you are thinking about buying or selling this year, you don't want to miss this recap of 2025 and my predictions for the new year. So without further ado, let's get into it. These beginning of the year ones are always a little interesting. We're going to wrap up the end of the year, but I'm also going to give you some of my predictions, what I think is going to happen this year and how the data is potentially proving that. So without further ado, let's jump in to it right here. And we'll get going. So let's get our info sparks going right now. So as always, I like to start with sale price. Here, looking back at the last year, we saw quite a bit of ups and downs, but finishing the year still relatively strong. If we look at where we started the year in January, we finished the year technically a touch below. However, we reached a couple peaks throughout the year that were pretty solid. If we look at the median here, if we look at January, our median was about $20,000 higher than our average. So I would argue to say that the overall average home in San Diego went up in value a lot, although we had outliers where there were high-end homes or lower-end homes that maybe weren't selling for quite as much. But that middle ground, the house that most people in San Diego could afford to buy, went up in value about $20,000 this past year. So looking at how we ended the year, new listings tanked off, dropped off. I would say we had one of the biggest drop-offs in the last couple of years here of listings towards the end of the year. There was not a lot of activity at the end of the year. And so that's always interesting. Active listings, same thing. We saw a pretty big drop-off there. Pending sales went down drastically. I would say people fell asleep the second week of December, which doesn't always happen, or doesn't usually happen, I would say. There's still relatively some interest in those. And then closed sales. We did see, a tiny tick up from November, but that was some layaway from sales in November, and it wasn't very drastic. So looking at percent of original list price for the year here, we saw it kind of climb up a little bit. We started off the year pretty strong. We climbed to really strong mid-year. This was the end of the spring market. We saw a slow decline throughout the year. This happened. This was kind of as expected, exactly what we felt. And then just a little bit of recovery at the end, a little bit of hope with interest rates coming down and things like that. Same thing with the average here, not quite as drastic, but you get the picture. I'll be really interested to see what January and February stats look like, because I'm seeing some pent-up demand, some interest peaks, things like that. Let's just kind of round it out with days on market. So we saw January days on market were pretty good. We did see a drop through the spring, and then a climb back up here in towards the end of the year. Also very common trend, so nothing super weird there with that. So let's get into some predictions for the new year. A lot of news out there. A lot of things are happening. Our president's been making comments about, wanting to make home purchasing more affordable and all that good stuff. Trying to figure out how to stop presenting. There we go. And we have seen some rates come down. The Fed cut the rate at the end of the year. I'm assuming there's going to be some more rate cuts. A lot of just talk in the media about real estate and relatively shifting to like a positive or like a positive intention, which I think will build confidence. We're seeing it already here at the beginning of the year. We've had a couple listings that have been on the market for a couple of months with relatively low interest compared that are starting to get interest. One has an offer, which is really awesome. So I really do think this is going to be a good spring selling season, or spring season in general. And I think we're going to see some relief in rates, even more so than we've already seen up until now, which is going to mean more buying power, which is going to mean people who couldn't afford it can, who weren't comfortable are, things like that. So if you're a buyer in the market, start getting pre-qualified, start looking at what these rates are going to do. Ask your lender, what do you expect? Do you expect this to go down drastically? Do you not? Ask your realtor. Hopefully it's us. What we can do to still try to get a good deal. There's still really good deals out there. There's still sellers who are motivated to negotiate and things like that. And I'm seeing a pent-up interest kind of coming in. So I'll be curious to see how many homes hit the market in January versus in December, because we saw a really big drop off. There's not a lot of inventory on the market right now. I'm assuming that's going to climb up, but how fast does it climb will dictate how busy and hectic, and maybe even how many like bidding wars and things like that we get into in the spring. Sellers, buyers have more buying power. They're able to buy, to buy more, and thus they're kind of jumping into the market. We have several buyer consultations set up with our buyer clients who are getting ready to buy in the next 3 to 6 months, or at least sometime this year. And that just goes to show kind of what else is happening. If we're getting calls, other people are getting calls too. So I think we're going to see a good amount of buyers out there in the market over the next couple of months. So don't wait. Start prepping your house. Call us. We can strategize on the buy side. We can strategize on the listing side, give you the best advice, give you the best guidance, and then help you get there at the end of the day. So this was a little bit of a long one. I think it's an exciting one. Hopefully you found some value in this. As always, if there's anything that you want from us, please don't hesitate to send us a private email, shoot us a text, or give us a call. We'd love to help you. We'd love to talk with you. And don't forget, we have our investing in real estate workshop at the end of March coming up. We're totally revamping it from the last time. We're going to make it more interactive, more educational, and really with the goal of helping people who have always had the dream of investing in real estate to actually achieve that. So we look forward to having you there. We look forward to any of your feedback, and check back next month to see what's happened in January and see even more predictions on what the rest of the year is going to bring and how it's going to unfold. Look forward to talking with you, or I guess look forward to seeing you then.